Welcome back, beautiful people, to another episode of Being Sexy and Playing Video Games. Today we will be continuing my Roottreemania series. In the last episode, we figured out a bunch of the tree. Now, technically, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people left. 3. Well, one of them is filled up. This one, I know her pictures, right? Because they were together. And these 3 looking questionable. We don't have a name for her. But I'm starting to think that author Cicely Sanchez was just an author. And she was just writing the book. She was commissioned to do it. She was not ever in Guy's personal life. And since most of the people were secretaries for him at some point, or whatchamacallit, people, I don't know where he would have been actually. So we're gonna have to go through confidential once again. I know we're hitting the ground walking, not running, we're walking, so I can go through this. Something important though is that there's a Christmas tree. Who's home? My mom. There's a Christmas tree in the background, so it probably happened in one of those Christmas tree parties he kept throwing. We're gonna scroll through the bottom of all of these. No big expenses. Zach Morton, retirement. Okay, so this is probably where it starts. 78. So we have that. Okay, so I know. Okay, what is this? What is happening? Because I read all of this, but I don't recall much of it, to be completely honest with you. I don't recall much. I do know that it's fine. I don't have to be right next to the microphone. Ooh, gone. The microphone's gone. But I look, you do want you close. Come here. So what we have, what do I have? I don't know. He spent a bunch of money and he kept, oh, fuck. I did not realize that he was, okay. Was I not paying attention? Okay, I saw many travel expenses were listed and Guy began trying to develop new flavors. So, he went to Australia, China, France, and Brazil. So I'm gonna fucking copy that. Wait, actually highlight it. Oh. Highlight that. We're gonna look that up in a second. And he kept trying to develop flavors. He had a New Year's, he had a bash, Christmas bash. But is it in order of size? No, it's in order of how it happened. So first he had Christmas, New Year's ball, 78. And then he traveled. And that was in 79. That's when he traveled. And what about this year? Did he travel? No. So it must have happened in 79. That's when it happened. So we're going to lock in on that for now. I guess we can read this. I don't think, there's evidence in it, but I don't know. There's an interview with Cicely Sanchez, an author who was, she was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to have been paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was president for a short period at the end of the 1970s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually, the last night of 78. Guy liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of Changed Man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party and they cornered me to talk about a book. That was the first time anyone recognized me from my work. I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but then none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop, 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 snip, snip. Anything with even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up gonzo. What was the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to 2 traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottree. And second, he'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. Oh, he had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers, really? Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottrie was boring as hell and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book, The Roottrie Legacy, with Elias on the cover. The last time he and I met, he had even switched out his orange suit for the same green ones Elias wore. And remember, fancy flavors? Guy knew that part of Elias's legacy was the 5-piece flavors. So that's what Guy tried to do too. Caviar was a disaster, but it was a disaster here, but it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. In Christmas '79, he went to Brazil to open Roottrees Brazil. So he probably opened a bunch of factories. Gonna go back down. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate the success. So how come the book never came out? It's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it by anybody in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, but Guy still got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it their time. Interview continues. Here's the president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family very wisely put a stop to it. Mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big, shiny, embossed letters, like all problems in his life. Throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back, but it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. The dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage, and we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress Susie something into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl. I remembered her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he died soon after, and that was the last it ever came up. Susie. Yeah, that is her either way on the trip picture. What can you tell us about the family? Any insight into the scandals from the recent book by Sam Madsen? I actually haven't read it. I just skimmed the section on Guy to see why people were suddenly calling me up to ask about the man. I'd say she did well for what she had to work with. She only had rumors, whereas I spent time tailing him. Sometimes he knew, sometimes he didn't. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottrees Brazil, but I actually had people on him when he went to Australia, France, and China too. When he met with someone, I'd figure out who they were and how they were involved. Doubly so, if the meeting happened when he didn't want me to be around despite his best efforts, I got the whole truth, including things even his family never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia, I think her name was Robin, he and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his family to know about, but I did. Madsen got things wrong? Sam mentions Guy's affairs and treats him like most people would logically think they treat them, like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't to talk. It was, if you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality, it was more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it, the same thing. She liked girls. Wink, wink. What is that? I'm assuming I only had to spell it out for you so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Guy, on the other hand, was seen in a traditional marriage and at the same time could bed any woman that found him charming. I can assure you that was exactly the type of marriage he was interested in. Whoa. Do we have a picture of his wife? Queen! Wait, wrong one? No, it's over here. Patricia! No picture, but she's still queen. I just went up. I kind of like look. They look alike. Let's better search that. Okay. It's one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as a part of Roottrees Everywhere. Ooh. Near the beginning of 79. Unlike some of the other Roottrees Everywhere results, Roottrees Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. It was the only region in which caviar flavored 5 pieces released at the end of 78 were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create that flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5-piece bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named Alvalagos, near the municipality of São Bernardo do Campo, became the location chosen by the Roottrees Candy Company after a newly elected local politician named Edson Soares heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in 79. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas and managed to break ground on the project. Edson Soares. So So his name is Suarez. But I need to find her maiden name. But I don't even know her first name. Since then, however, has been operating relatively smoothly, except for 2 incidents. The first was Incendio de Bordo, fire, in 1982, and the second was an unsuccessful strike in 1995 that involved all of the factory workers being replaced. The factory was originally built and run according to the paperwork at the time by a small company called Nova Corporação de Doces Brasil, which translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. Doces is candy. This corporation, Nova New. This company no longer exists. Not much information has ever existed about it, and the Roottrees now run Roottrees Brazil entirely. Ooh. I'm gonna look that up. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go back to. Well, I was just there. But I wanted to look up. I want to look up Roottrees everywhere, and then the guy's name. Roottrees Everywhere was an expansion in the late 70s. It coincided with some other large changes at the company and had mixed success. As far as you can tell, the different companies related to it were all formed in very different and sometimes haphazard ways. There's minimal organized information about the history of the expansion itself online, but you can glean the following. Roottrees candy has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by Elias as early as the 40s. This included places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees Everywhere involved Roottrees expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with Ford that it had no share in: Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Each of the following had an entirely new company formed, mostly by making deals with local distributors and manufacturers. So now we're gonna look at each one of these. Oh, I guess that works as well, highlighting it. I'll bring me back. Oh, that is not what I meant to do, guys. I was trying to copy it. Oz is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as a part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in summer 1979. According to a history website of Roottrees Oz, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed American leadership of the Roottrees company at the time. Roottrees Oz did have some success, but only in certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 1992 after the death of Martin, and Roottrees Oz now serves as an importer and distributor. Cool. So now we're gonna look up, where do you look that one up? China Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute candy. It was developed as a part of the Roottrees during the late 70s. China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies, and the Roottrees candy company decided to pounce. Yuck. Lang. Ooh, we're gonna highlight that because I'm gonna hate having to come back and forth. Who was said to personally win over the Roottrees family, and was the owner of multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients and build a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk, unpackaged Roottrees candy and label it for not only China but additional markets. Hongbo, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother Lang took control upon his death in 1986, and after Hong Yu died in 1992. Long after. What? It passed to the oldest child from the next generation, Lang. I'm gonna look her up. Because it was only daughters. In China, the family name comes first, so Lang is her last name. Is a businesswoman currently running the Lang Thai textile company. She was recently listed as in an article on a website written by and for women. The article entitled "Empowered" is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. The article states that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister, Jinju. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Took over as the CEO of her family's company in 1992 after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit to run the company due to mental deterioration. This was apparently an extremely controversial move amongst the company's employees and some of them. The article does not state how many quit and wrote a letter stating that she must have encouraged them in his vulnerable state. That's awful. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb, whatever. The article roughly translates as someone that has proven that you can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions that was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. There is an unsourced picture of Xinju in the article. It says that it's from 92 when she took over. She was 45 at the time. It has been added to your evidence. Photo of Xinju from a recent article about the growth of female entrepreneurs in China. She runs a business with many textile factories. Some manufacture packaging for American products. IVF. So I have to look up her. She's the one with the picture. No, I just looked her up. Dummy. I already looked her up. Business, empower, have daughter for her sister. She has a younger sister. Took over when her uncle deteriorated. Hold on. Don't know where she'll start doing a deal. Hongbo was already in his 50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother Hongyu took control upon his death in 1986, and then in 92 died. He passed to the oldest child, which was Lang. Okay. I knew the last name came first because I kept seeing Lang and I was like, okay, that's not the first name, there's the last name. So searching for Lang separately brings up much fewer results in Lang Tai. Sure, I did not look up Lang Tai. Why would I have looked up Lang Tai? I saw Tai. Ooh! I saw Tai here somewhere. Maybe the other one? Yeah, I saw here. Is a woman business currently running the Lang Tai textile company. I saw that. Yeah, but I didn't even look it up. I didn't try looking it up. Give me a second. Okay, whatever. 250 years family tree during the time. Was spread for the currency use simply as season. The fact doesn't list her last name though. She disappeared to leave for the logos and others tranquil, and the third is piece of Asian. Maybe if I look these up as well, it gives me more pictures. Okay. Loudest quilts you've ever seen? Flaming. Oh, that's so fun. Piece of Asia. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, according to their site. So I can look that up. Signed to Lang Tai. Wholesale, the business is said to be owned by husband, wife, Jerry, and Linda Han. Their Chinese names are listed too, and from using an online translator, it seems that Jerry is Han Lang. Oh, wait. They're the business owners of this one. What if Pennsylvania? Do I have anything from Pennsylvania? I have Portland. God damn it. Okay, well, one of these ones has something about a fucking woman there. Empowered. Okay, well, I have her. She's older. She is the big girl, and she has a daughter. That's all I know. Her last name is also Lang. Me and we just saw that it was that, I'm pretty sure. I just need a picture. Lang Xinjiao, yeah. She's married? Says she's married. Yeah. Oh, I guess. Cool. Also, they both took the husband's name, but that's her actual. Okay. Okay, but I don't have a picture of her, so that's all I have. Hold on, can I close this? Close. Where is she? She's right here. There's like nobody hiding in the belly. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 95. Bruh. So I need to figure these out in order to unlock it. Oh yeah. Edson Suarez. Let's go back to Retreat Everywhere. Finish off with France. Not starting negotiations appropriately. Was meant to be Tristan. So they never happened. France never happened. Let's go back to Brazil. And now let's look up Edson Suarez. There we go. Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation published by a colleague student as part of their PhD in history. It focused on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems up until 88, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during that time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells a few politicians at the time, including Edson Suarez. Edson is a former mayor of Alvalagos. I can speak Spanish, but Jesus Christ, Alvalagos, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. He was put in charge of Alvalagos by the military government in 1973. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. This had two side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly I'm listening to myself talk. It's so impossible. Forcibly relocated. This did not make him a popular mayor, and what the paper speculates was a move to counteract his unpopularity. His wife, Sonia, was discreetly wed. Let me take this. His wife, Sonia, was discreetly put in charge of a television station called Telerede. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television, spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 1988, when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After his election lost, he quickly left the town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he likely fled to stay alive with the wifey. Telerede. Telerede is a former television station in Brazil. It came into being in 1978 after a vacuum was created due to the removal of a different network at the hands of the Brazilian military dictatorship. Due to lack of resources online, you don't have much to go on about who ran it and when. Let's look up Telerede and Sonia. Okay, let's look up Sonia Soares. Oops. There does not seem to be anyone relevant by the name listed anywhere online you can find. However, Spider Search does return a page that lists a few anchor in Brazil named Flavio, who has a mother named Sonia. Wait, but she was undercover, so maybe you know. Ooh, Flavio Suarez is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. Oy. I don't know why I would think they'd have a daughter. I assume to be a news anchor. And I don't know. Will she also be a CEO? Moms of bosses. Jesus. To Natasha, kids from Brazil, Flavio. Flavio Suarez is a Brazilian news anchor. There's a sign photo he found online. What? Fanfiction! Young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. The discourse surrounding him is, to put it in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about something called fanfiction that has a small section dedicated to him. It seems that women, and some men, of a wide variety of ages and writing skills tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn that a common thread is that he's currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. I was going to say, isn't she 5? Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. There are also some other more traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, 18, his zodiac sign Libra, his favorite food, grilled steak, and his mother's name, Sonia. Also, it seems that Flavio translates to golden hair. One website with a sign for publicity for what you call it. Let's look her up. British supermodel who does ads for perfume, clothing, and jewelry. She has been the subject of some controversy in the past months, having been protested by PETA for wearing fur on the cover of some magazines. She's dating a young Brazilian news actor named Flavio Soares, which has brought them both somewhat into the limelight. You're you. Oh, I need a picture of you, but I don't know what you are. I don't know her last name. 3 for a fact. I need you guys. Okay, so I'm missing 2. Was she technically a news anchor? Or just a housewife at that point? Because he's just 18? Boy, that's a rough fucking 18. Girl, get on my page. Okay. You can't hear me breathing, that's funny. Okay, piece of Asia. American arm of Lang Tie, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to our site. Their page contains very rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove that the company has been in the Lang family for a long time. Kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back at least to 50 years in some form or another. Okay, the company's company focused and not people focused and doesn't offer any information. So just names. During the period when they began, Lang Hongbo in China, the whatever was the CEO. He died for the internet was widespread, so there's not much out there other than his name on his website. His younger brother Lang is featured on this history section directly following him, so seems to be the only mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman listed simply as the site doesn't list her last name, though she does appear in the family tree below Hongbo. Lang Tai has a few American logos on its page. One is the Roottreemania. But the piece of Asia one, I was gonna say, what if her name is Hongbo, but it literally said it's not. So, I already looked her up. Yeah. What if I look up? Oh, no. I have to look up. Bro, if I look them up, it's just gonna be the same thing. Like literally a piece of Asia. Jerry Linda and Mark Han appeared recently on a website called yes. No, it's just a website, not a fucking head article. God damn it. Hanging with the Hans. The Hans were chosen because they donate significantly to cases that further Chinese American culture. Causes. Jerry and Linda were both born in China and fell in love during college. Linda's father led a large company. This article never names it. Ooh, Beach. After it expanded to the U.S., Linda's father approved their marriage so long as Jerry took over the U.S. portion of the business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is like something out of an Alanis Morissette song, with how ironic it all ended up. I was absolutely terrified to move to the United States, but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall and was obsessed with Robert Redford. Try to look that up. And team photo, team glass. Oh, okay, fuck me, whatever. But somehow Jerry and I were the ones sent there. And now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and has thrived there. She doesn't even like visiting the U.S. anymore. Our kids are complete opposites, so Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad. As soon as he was old enough, he's actually in business school in China now, working with my sister. Our niece, who grew up there, was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school and flew out as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Lucy Lang is not exactly a common name, but it's not the most uncommon you've come across either. There are a few that come up with any searchable details, so it might be possible to narrow down your possibilities. Lucy Lang is mentioned on a robotics website as a part of the Team Talent Claw. Team Talent Claw are one of the only 2 teams from the US participating on a new robot-based show in the UK. Another Lucy Lang is part of a small women's cappella group in Los Angeles called Gin and Tonics. A third Lucy Lang works in New York for a business called Corporate Synergetic Solution Limited. So she had a sister. She's CEO, and that is her name. She had a sister. And the sister was this one who married Jerry. So the name is Lang, but it's not the sister. It could be an L. Could it just be Lucy? But she changed it. Junwei? Oh. I have a lot of names that it could be down here. No, these were last names. These were the Bobbeach. Those were the dad and the uncle's name. So maybe I'll put Lucy for now, just as a filler, just so I remember that that's not her. So we can look up Team Talent Claw. We're gonna have to look up all of these. Middle Eastern, like that. It just says Lucy Lang. Doesn't say anything about the people. So I'm gonna say pass on that one. Look up this one. College a cappella group out of Los Angeles. Soprano. There's just about her other her name. Okay, so I'm gonna guess it's the last one. Corporate, cause it's corporate. Yeah, why wouldn't I think that she's a CEO? Nothing to save though. Whatever, is a company located in New York City. Lucy Lang is a lead synergy engineer who is listed as being ranked one of the top facilitators in by Business Watch magazine. As far as you can tell, CSSU is a company that other companies hire as consultants to increase productivity and then clear the exact services they provide. The site is light on details. There are a few high-profile companies listed on their site as former clients. You recognize their names, but none are related. You know, this is her. So we're gonna look up Lucy Lang on the Business Watch. She's not CEO. She's a engineer. E. Facilitator. And no engineer. What the hell? Lead. Okay, so she's not a CEO. Whatever. We'll find it in a second because we're gonna look at her Business Watch. Okay, we're gonna look up Lucy Lang. Nope, nothing to fucking download. Okay, Lucy Lang was listed. Blah blah blah. She's in an article by consultants. The corporation's hired. Okay, so she's a consultant. ABC. Okay, fuck me. No, again. Each person featured in the article has a small bio section followed by a longer section about why they were chosen. Lou's bio section mentions she grew up in a small Arkansas town. Oh, she's only the second person in her family to ever have left the state since her grandparents and the... She's another too. this isn't her. Okay, so it has to be one of the other two. Maybe if I look up them. Okay, whatever. Maybe him? I'm gonna cry. Wait. I just look up. No, I don't have an original name. God damn it. It's in her 30s. Oldest of 4 children. No, none of this makes sense. Okay, I need a minute because I actually don't know what to do. We have one person left. One person left and one occupation and last name left, but I don't know where to look, so I will take a break. BRB. Okay, silly billies. We're gonna look up. I wanna look up school and I wanna go back. Hold on, let's start. Well, let's start back. There was a mention of an IVF thing that this girl did for her sister. But the sister in the interview literally said they had Mark, or whatever his name is, right? This kid was spotted. Robert Bedford played this famously redhead. No wonder she had a crush on him. He's a redhead. Okay. So what I was saying was, they just said they had him when we had Mark. We never even considered him giving him. Like they weren't like when we asked our sister to when I asked my sister to do IVF. I don't. Where did the IVF even come from? Like I remember reading it. There you go. The article also found mentions that since she was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. But that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Because if she, in 92, she had adopted the IVF thing, even though the math isn't right, because I know she doesn't mean she had the kid in 92. That doesn't make sense. They're not talking about it like they had Mark because of her. Because I think she did it for her sister, no? And helped her sister have a child, yeah, so no. She lied and said she got IVF earlier. She was pregnant with the kid. Okay. Now let's just log back in on Lucy Lane. Right. And Team Temple and just look up the university. is a notable private college that advertises itself as midway between Maine and Miami. Their mascot is the Spectres, though they are not known for their sports programs as much as their education. Their legal and language departments are their pride and joy, though they also have fairly expensive computer science and robotics program. Along with other prestigious schools that have acquired recent notoriety of Ivy League schools, some refer to it as a Little Ivy. The college has embraced this, calling their newspaper the Herald, which is a combination of hetero, the scientific name for ivy, and herald. Their website boasts that they have a historical technology museum on campus, including a still functioning computer from 1960s. From the 1960s, that takes up a whole room. They also have a printing press that they use to print one special year-end issue of the Herald each year. And we're gonna look that up. Discovered every periodical. We're done. Wow. It is a school newspaper for it appears with in your periodical archive. After further research, we've discovered that it's losing. Herald. Where's the H? So there's a Herald. The Herald has a story about their school's robotics team. Team 10 College listed three student members talking about general robotics. The only one that catches your attention is Lucy Lang. She grew up in China as Min Lang. She's the only one in the picture. She's so pretty. It's for Lucy Lang, aka Lang Min, with Town Cloud, the robot she worked at Midwestern. Mid-Eastern. You found it in, Skeel newspaper. So she is a student in college, and her name was actually Min. And this is her little beautiful face. Obsessed, dark about the picture, Valley Girls in the barrel. Oh, she's so awesome and beautiful. So now, all that's left is Sonia. Blank, blank, blank. So, okay. We had Flavio and the girlfriend. I'm gonna look her up in all these. Skip that. Use time? No. Skip No. Silver? She's an actress, no? Starlet? No. Team Blast. Ashley York, a British model, appeared on the cover's Team Blast wearing a fur shawl 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't. She's dating Flavio in it. A Team Blast reporter asked how they met. I was in Rio for Carnival, and he was on one of the parade floats. I had no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my people to invite him to the party I was going to. I felt pretty stupid once I realized that we were going to his party. Well, his mother's party. She runs a media empire down there called Roottreemania. We're gonna look that shit up. Massive media group owned and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. It seems Sonia Alves is a common name in Brazil. She has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. According to the history page that's focused on her company and vague on searchable details, Nia received a significant inheritance in 1980 and invested in many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to learn the ins and outs of running a television network. That's as well. She continued to work in television until 1988 when Brazil began its period of reform. She felt like this was a perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment connections. Now her company owns television, networks, magazines, newspapers, and advertising firms. After doing some translating, the page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go, because the husband just disappeared. True, he's like hidden. Or they did split up. Weird, they are split up. It does not go into any other relationship story. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear at a shareholder meeting. She sends a proxy. Interesting, because it's not her money. Alves, and she is not a news anchor. She is a media mogul. And we're done. Oh my god, we did it! I think we did it. Oh my god, I think we did it.
Hi again. I know you probably thought you were done. But it turns out what you're doing here might have some pretty major repercussions on the family tree.
We still have the envelope. Oh, again.
Also, there's something really strange happening. I can't explain it.
Neither of us can.
What?
I'd call it a simple misunderstanding, but it's digging at the pit of my stomach. I just have a feeling. Clark?
Last week, let's just say being the president, sometimes people bring me things.
Just skip to the important part.
Right. One of our janitors brought me some hair she'd found in Ruby Spratt's trash. It was Bonnie Hudson's. Bonnie is Guy's sister. She'd sent us her hair to test potential root trees, since her DNA is closest to Guy's. But Ruby threw it out, and I wasn't sure why she would have done that. Especially right before we began testing the tree you provided. When I asked, she told me she thought the samples needed to be fresh every time they did a test.
It seems really odd. Ruby was the one who convinced us to do DNA testing in the first place. She seemed so knowledgeable. I don't like it. You've done more of a deep dive on these people than anybody else has. Clark will keep a closer eye on the DNA tests from now on. You have an eye for anomalies. We need you to find the smoking guns.
If there's anyone you're 100% positive can't be a root tree,
or any you've got definitive evidence are root trees, then we might be able to catch Ruby in a lie.
No! Yeah, so actually this is the end of the video, because what the fuck? I forgot that there was a mystery. I didn't realize this was gonna be the fucking mystery. I feel like that's solid. I feel like these are solid. They were in the same church together. That's already been proven now. What? And I feel like this one's solid though. They for sure are though, because of there's the most recent affair. She was also around, and he gave her money, and they split up, and then infidelity thing on the car. Them, I don't know. This one, I don't know. There's pictures of them together, but there's never talk about it. Who knows? She could have Plus, that boy does. That boy kind of maybe the hair. The hair, bro. The hair. Okay, well, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Oh my god, I can't believe we're still going. Bye.